friends, this is Shelley. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We are going to make this beautiful ribbed beanie together. Now this is the third beanie in my Flecks collection, and you're going to want to check the other ones out. I will put all the yarn particulars in the description box below so you can have a list of the colors and the yarn particulars there. But I am using Lion brand Flecks yarn. I bought one ball in 3 different colors, and I'm seeing how many beanies I can make out of those 3 balls of yarn. And I'm calling it the Flecks collection. So you'll want to look on my beanie playlist and find all the ones that we're making. And you'll want to follow suit. You can get quite a few beanies out of one ball in 3 colors. And this yarn is absolutely gorgeous. So for this one, it is reversible. And you're gonna love it, I hope. It's not hard. If you've not done ribbing before, don't be scared. If I can learn and do it, then you certainly can too. So join me in this tutorial and make yourself a beautiful ribbed beanie. It's very gorgeous. I'm using my 46 needle ADDI, but you can go ahead and use your 48 needle SENTRO if that's what you have. All right, friends, once you have your supplies, we're gonna get started. But please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'd appreciate that so very much. All right, friends, have fun. All right, friends, are you ready to begin beanie number 3 in our Flecks collection? Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to go back and look at my channel and see the other 2 videos that were made with the same yarn. Okay, it's called the Flecks collection, and we are about to start beanie number 3. We're going to bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn guide. We are making an adult beanie, so you're going to use your 46 or your 48 needle machine. We're going to take our color of choice for the inside part of our beanie, okay? So if you're using different shades of yarn than what I'm using, you pick whichever one you want for the inside of your beanie. And we're gonna cast on, going in front of that first black. Oh, get my coffee out of the way. By the way, cheers. Made myself a cup of coffee in Starbucks vanilla latte milk creamer thingy is in there. So good. Go make yourself a cup of coffee or something that you enjoy and bring it down. And we're gonna go. So we're gonna cast on with the drawstring cast on, going in front of that first black, behind the next, in front, behind, in front, behind, in front, behind, all the way around. And you're gonna let it just slip through your fingers. You don't want any tension on it, because in the next row, we want this yarn to slip down over the needles very easily and over onto those little red teeth, so it can pick up the yarn that we're going to knit in the second row. And because there's no weight from our project that is help pulling it down, we need this to be a fairly loose tension so that it can easily fall down over those red teeth, down the needle and over the red teeth. Before we get to the end, we're going to set our row counter to 0. And our last needle should be worked behind that white, and into the yarn feeder we go. This is next part. It's going to be fairly easy because we're just going to, oops, see how this split? This was what I was going to just tell you next. I didn't get very far, so I'm going to fix that. This yarn likes to split. It's very fibrous in the sense that if I turn that a little bit, you see all those strands in there? It likes to split like that. So if you put the right tension on it, that will not happen. Well, it will happen very rarely. I hold it between my fingers like this, and then this is where I can get the lightest tension if I'm just lightly holding my fingers together. But if I squeeze my fingers, I get a mid tension, or I put it up to the middle here, I get a medium tension, and I can control it that way. You want, if you're going to use your tensioner that you can put in your machine, use your middle tensioner. Okay, and I just hold my yarn, I put some tension on it, because if I put tension on it, watch what happens. From that to that, it just tightens it up, which helps it to just slip under those little nooks of the needle. If it's too loose, that's when the very tip of that needle will catch that yarn and will split it for you, and then that's not fun. Okay, but once we get going here, we're going to go fairly slow on this first round. I always pull down this little tail. Now that we're in the swing of things, you can find the tension and the speed that your machine and your yarn play well together with. And that is a medium tension for me, and I could probably go quite a bit faster than this, because really, in all honesty, our machine loves this yarn. And so I'm going to probably maintain a speed like this. Whatever speed you choose to do, maintain it. because if you maintain your speed, then your rows look better when you have your project off the machine. If you slow down and speed up and slow down and speed up, then you can see it in your rows. So we're going to keep going until we have 50 rows, 50. Okay, friends? Not hard. Keep going, and I'll see you when you get to the end of row 50. All right, so I have my 50 rows done. I'm going to cut my yarn. I'm going to open my latch. I'm going to pop this in between the last white and the first black. We're going to grab our second color, which for me is going to be pink. I want the main body of my beanie to be the white. So whatever the main body of your beanie is going to be, don't choose that color. Choose the other color. Okay, if you're using 3 colors, you have one for the inside color, you have one that's just going to give you some pops of color on your brim, and then the next color that we're going to use is going to be the main body of the beanie. Okay, but we're going to do some striping here first for our brim, what looks like our brim. Okay, I'm going to pop my pink into that space there in between the last white and the first black. Friends, generally you see me do a jogless join here. We are not going to do that, because when we start our ribbing, after we have our project off the machine, we have to rib this last needle. We'll do every second one, and we'll have to rib this one. If I have my jogless join there, it's going to affect how I rib. So you're not going to see the offset on this jogless join because of the ribbing. So we're not going to have to worry about it. So that's why we're not going to do a jogless join for our color changes. So all we're going to do is we're going to pop it into the center between the last white and the first black. We're going to knit 4 or 5 needles. We're going to still fix our tension by under the divider, take both ends, pull away. And if this is the first time you've ever seen that done, back this up a couple seconds and look what happens here when you do what I just did. It makes your tension at the beginning of your row a lot nicer. Now, because we're not doing a jogless join, we can go ahead and tie these ends nice and tight, just like that, and cut them off. I'm going to do 3 rows of this pink. So this is 1, 2, and 3. My counter says that I'm working on row 53. I see that black divider coming around. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to cut my pink yarn off, open that latch, put this between the last white and the first black. Then I'm going to take my soft rainbow, which is my white. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to hold both tails. I'm going to knit 4 needles or 5, help those down under the divider, take both ends, pull them away from each other to snug that up. Then I'm going to tie off my join. 1 and 2. Cutting that off. I am now going to knit 3 rows. This is row 54. Don't step on your yarn, which I have a habit of doing. 55. And don't let it tangle around your other colors. I got lots of yarn down there. It's all exciting. And 56. That's 3 rows of pink, 3 rows of white. I'm going to cut that white tail, pop it over to the other side there, open my latch, make sure that tail goes between the last white, the first black. I'm going to grab my pink again, pop that in, knit 4 or 5 needles, help those down underneath, pull away from each other, tie off my knot, cut those off to make it a little bit better, a little nicer. 3 rows. 57, 58, and 59. Okay, so friends, we've done 3 rows of pink, 3 rows of white, 3 rows of pink, and now we're going to cut that pink, open the latch, pop that into the center, grab our white again, knit 4 needles, help that down under, pull away, tie off. Cut this off. We're going to knit 3 rows of white, and then we are going to knit another 3 rows of pink. So we've got 3 rows of pink, 3 rows of white, 3 rows of pink, 3 rows of white, 3 rows of pink. 15 rows of alternating colors going in groups of 3. So 3 pink, 3 white, 3 pink, 3 white, 3 pink. Keep doing that until you get to 15 rows, and I'll see you back. Just finishing up my last row. So I've got 15 rows of my alternating colors, and this is going to be our brim, what looks like our brim. So 3 pink, 3 white, 3 pink, 3 white, 3 pink. Takes us to row 65. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that, pop that in the middle. Then I'm going to take my white yarn and I'm going to pop it into my yarn feeder, close the latch. I'm going to hold both of those tails. I'm going to knit 4 or 5, help that down, pull this away. I could have done a jogless join there. No, I couldn't have because I'm ribbing. So we're going to continue on the way we were. So we're going to, see, it's just natural for me to do that. We're going to tie off like we did all the other ones. And then we are going to finish our beanie in this particular color. So friends, we did 50 rows for the inside. And then this is the outside, and we started with pink, white, pink, white, pink, making that 15 rows. We have to equal the inside, which means we need 50 rows in total. So we're going to now do 35 rows, because 35 and 15 is what? 50. That's right. I can hear you all yelling at me through the screen. Once your project starts to touch the table, you're going to pick it up, and you're going to roll it into a donut, and as you continue knitting, you're going to keep rolling, okay? Because if it touches the table, it pushes up and you might risk dropping one of these loops off these red teeth and dropping your row. And we don't want that, do we? Okay, so we're going to continue knitting for 35 rows or until our counter tells us we're at row 100. Okay, all right, friends. Continue on for 35 rows, taking you to row 100. All right, friends, I have completed my rows and I'm at 100 on my counter. You're going to cut your tail so that it is long enough to go around your barrel 1.5 to 2 times. And you're going to set that into the center. We're not going to use it right now, okay? Open your latch. Pop this in between the last white and the first black, being careful because we still have to, I'm going to just tuck that in there. We still have to finish knitting these two, but we're going to stick our waste yarn in there. So grab a color of yarn that you can easily see against your working yarn there so that when we work the ends in our ribbing, we can easily see the difference in cut the right one because we're going to do some cutting. But you're going to pop that into your yarn guide in between the last white and the first black. You don't have to fix the tension on this one, but you are going to make sure that that first row gets worked properly. You don't want any tuck stitches or anything. Make sure that you go slow. I'm going to knit 7 rows of waste yarn. Now this isn't waste yarn that you're going to be able to use after we're done this project. Okay, so if you're cherishing that particular yarn that you're using, well, choose a different one. But we're going to do 7 rows. I'm actually going to just give this a little tie, just like that. And one more. Now, if I was to cut this, pop it into the center, and then rotate my barrel twice, my piece would come off, and that's generally what we do. But because we're going to be working and filling with this project, we need to secure these stitches so that our waste yarn doesn't start to unravel. So you're going to cut off a tail long enough to go around your barrel 1.5 to 2 times. We're going to do a drawstring cast off. Not that we're going to use the drawstring cast off, because we're not, but it will help to hold those stitches so they don't unravel as we work. Pop that onto your needle. And I'm going to rotate my barrel, and I'm going to remove these stitches. Picking one at a time until I get some slack on here, then I can do more. Pull straight out to the side, not up. If I pull up, then I'm going to lose a stitch. So you want to go right to the side. And now that we have some slack, we can do a few at a time. Pull straight out. These are metal wool needles. If you follow my channel, you know I use them all the time. I hope my hair wasn't hanging in the picture in the camera. I did this one time with a beanie, and I forgot to put my hair up, and all you could see was my hair hanging over these needles. So I hope that that's not the case here. If it is, bear with me. All I'm doing is picking up the loops, and we're going to go around till all of the loops are released, but do not then pull this drawstring cord tight. Okay, you want it to just hold those stitches, not to tighten the end. All right, friends, go ahead, finish removing your piece from the machine. All right, friends, now the fun is going to begin. Don't be scared. We're going to unravel this, but we're going to turn it inside out. Ravel it from so that the wrong side is showing, or unroll it so the wrong side is showing, okay? And we are going to give it a stretch, just because that's our practice, and we do that. Then we're going to just get this piece out of the way, just like that. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to turn it this way actually, is you're going to find your first stitch. I'm going to undo this little tie that I did. You can see that where your waste yarn is coming out of, here's a loop, right? There's a loop. Where this working yarn is coming out, that's the last loop there. I'm going to take this working yarn, I'm going to put it on my needle, and what we're going to do, if I can just, I really need to turn it the other way, but I think you can see it better if I do it this way. What we're going to do is we're going to pick up that first stitch, just like that, where our waste yarn is coming through. So see, there's the waste yarn coming through. We're going to pick that one up. Before we do so, let's take a stitch marker that closes. I want to be able to identify that last stitch when I come around, and it might be a little tight, so I'm going to go ahead and just identify that one there. Okay, so I'm going to pick up stitch number 1. This is stitch number 2. We have to drop this row and work it. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pick up the one beside it. So this is 1. We're going to skip number 2. We're going to pick up number 3. Then that little piece of yarn here that's on either side of this loop here, we have to snip it. We have to cut this one, and we have to cut this one. But what I want to do is I'm going to work one more stitch just in case it starts to unravel. So we've got our number 1, we skipped number 2, we went into 3, we're going to skip number 4, we're going to go into 5. Pull that through. You can leave these loopy like this. Helps you to see your stitches. This is the one we need to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissor, cut the waste yarn. So here's the one that we've caught with our loop. We missed this one. Here's the one that we caught with this loop. We have these two little strands that are in between that row. Give it a cut. Make sure you don't cut your work. Just cut the waste yarn. There we go. Then you're going to release that. If you want to do it a different way where you pick up all the secondary stitches with your stitch markers, you can do that. I have an infant beanie that I did in ribbed. You can go and look at that and see it. But because this is there, I think it's going to hold that. Now all we have to do is we have to take this down. Unravel this row very, very easily, just like this. But we want to go all the way down to the green. This first one's going to be tricky because of those knots that are there. But we're going to just take this all the way down. Just like that. Once you get the first 5 or 6 done, then it's not confusing. And then it will look better to you. But now that you're starting, it just is a little daunting. But we're going to just take those out just like this. And we know that we did 3 rows of pink, so I'm going to unpick 1, 2, 3. I did 3 rows of white. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get my crochet hook ready. I did 3 rows of pink. So 1, 2, and here's the green loop that I'm going to go into. So pick up that loop. Then you can unpick this other one. Put it on top of your loop. So that green one is the one we're going to go into. You're going to take your crochet hook, pop it in just like so. Take that first bar and work it up. Take the next one, work it through the loop. Take the next one, and you're going to do this all the way up, taking the bars in order that they come. Oh, this is honestly so relaxing. I love stuff like this. I love when we can do a stitch that's a little bit challenging, that makes you think a little bit, and that makes a real big difference on your project. It's so satisfying. Make sure you don't cross any of these over. You want to make sure you're picking them up in order. And there we go. All the way up. You can spread that out a little bit if it's easier. And we're going up and up. Takes a little bit of time, but you know what? It's worth it. I'm gonna hold that like that. I'm gonna get in there. Oops, what did I do? Oh, it's just split some yarn. There we go. Be very careful when you get to the top. You don't want to pull it too much. And there we go. So now I have my loop there. So you say, what are you going to do with it? Because you've got your yarn already looped into there. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to take another piece. Oops. Well, that's the one that's attached to there. I'm going to take another piece. It's long enough to go around my project. Pop it on my needle. And I'm going to then, when I get this one done, this other one here is, okay, that was, sorry, I'm confusing you. I'm confusing me. This is the drawstring that's going through. You don't need to work that one. Let's get this last one done. Then I'm going to pop this needle through that stitch and pick it up with a new line. Okay, so we have essentially 2 lines going around, but that's okay because we're going to cinch them together and tie them off at the end. But now I'm going to take this other one that I was working. What happened to my needle? Okay, so we've got this loop here. We did this one, we worked this one into our purls, then we caught this stitch, we're going to do this one next. We caught this one. Now I'm going to miss one and pick one up. Every time I do one, I'm going to miss one and pick one up. Oops, got that all twisted. I'm going to miss one and pick one up so that it holds my stitches in place. Otherwise, if you cut this purple one, it's going to start unraveling all the way down. So it's just making sure that you have 2 of these loops picked up before you, and then you have 2 that are in between, and then you will cut the yarn that's between those 2. So here's the one that's caught. This is the one I need to work. So I'm going to snip off that waste yarn that's on either side of that stitch, being very careful not to stitch my working yarn. And there we go. Now I have loose that one again, or the next one, and I'm going to work that all the way down. And because I've caught this one, it's kind of holding this into place so it doesn't pull through and unravel that one too. Okay, so we're going to go this all the way down. I'm sure that there's other ways to do it. And if you think of a way to hold those stitches better than what I'm showing you, then by all means do it. Do it. But I'm trying to find an easy way that's also very effective. So we're going to go down till we get to the very last. So 3 pink. I know I have to do 3 pink. Get those tails out of the way. 1, 2, and that green loop that's right under that pink one is the one I'm going to put my hook in. And we're going to start working our way up, taking all the bars in order. And 3 pink, 3 white, and again, once you get farther away from these little knots here, it'll be easier. 3 pink, 3 white, or past the 3 white actually, we're now up into the 35 rows. So we're picking up 50 bars on each row. Spread it out a little bit if you need to see which one comes next, if you're getting a little mixed up, and that will help you. And you're going to go all the way up. You know, you might want to use 2 different needles. So if you have a needle that's a different color, use that maybe for the second line so you don't get mixed up and use the wrong line to pick this up. I'll switch that off as soon as I get up to the top and show you what I mean. Oops. And here we go. So this next bar here is part of this line, so you don't want to pick that up. You want to take this one on this side. Oops. I'm going to switch off the needles. I'm going to put a blue one. So I know that every row that I work, I'm going to pick it up with the needle, with the blue needle. This one's a little big, but that's okay. It'll work. Now where am I at here? And we're going to pick that one up. All right, so I've picked that one up now. I'm going to set it aside. This next one here, which our loop is that we picked up with our other strand, we don't work. This is the one we want to work, but we always want to have 2 stitches picked up on either side of it to help us secure. So we've got this loop. So it's coming through this one. We're going to work this one. It's coming through that next one here. We're going to miss this one and we're going to pick up this one. Just like that. Now we've got those two loops. See what I'm doing? So if I hold these up so you can see, I always want to have 1, 2, 3 secured and the 2 in between. Okay, and then we're going to cut the first one, just the waist yarn. 1 and 2. That will release that next row and we're going to work it down. Friends, you're going to do that until you have worked all the way around. You will have purled 23 rows and it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. Bring this down. I'm going to take my pick to help me when I get further. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I'm going to stick my hook in that green one right there. And then unpick the pink one. There we go. Now I'm going to work my way all the way up again. I'll see you when I get to the top. I've made it to the top and I counted so that I had all 50. You don't want to miss a bar, so be very, very careful. I'm going to then pick up this stitch with my blue needle, making sure I don't pull it all the way through. Then I'm going to put that off to the side. We're going to go over to our next side. This one we keep. This one's got to be worked. This one we keep. This one's got to be worked. So we always want to be holding 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to take this first one. We're going to cut and cut and release all the way down. And friends, you are going to continue in that manner all the way around your piece. Don't stress, take your time, don't be in a hurry, because you don't want to get almost all the way around and then find that you cut the wrong loop, or you know, anything that will go against what your patterning is supposed to be. And so take your time and you will end up with a beautiful, beautiful result. So I'm going to continue on till I have every second row completed, and I'll see you back when I get close to the end. All right? Have fun, friends. Okay, friends, how's it going? I just wanted to pop on and show you that once you get going quite a ways, like I've got quite a bit done already, but I showed you how to pick up 2 loops so that you could see the visual as to where you're going to go next with this particular needle. So now that I have this row done, I've got my, as we know, my yarn through that loop and through the next loop. And then I have these 2 that are ready to be cut, but I'll start with this one and then I'll grab another loop. When you get the visual as to know how to pick these up, you can then go around and pick up every second loop with this needle. You can do it all the way around. Just like that. Keep it still fairly loose so you can see where your loops are. I'm going to stop there. I only got this one left, but I'm going to stop there just because I'll pull this a little bit tighter and I'll have more slack there. But then you can get this out of your way. Now that you know the visual, which is what I wanted you to see, then you can just pick up more loops just like what I just showed you. And then now all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one and I'm going to work it, and then I'm going to pick it up with my, when I get to the top, I'm going to pick it up with my blue stitch, then I'm going to needle, and then I'm going to go on to the next one, and I'm going to continue like that. Okay, so again, once you get going a little bit and you see the patterning and how it works out, grab every second loop all the way around and then just do one at a time as you go. Okay, that might make it a little bit easier for you. All right, continue on and I'll see you at the end. All right, friends, we are nearing the end, and that waste yarn is going to fall off soon. So I've got this one picked up, and where's my needle here? This one we have to drop. This one I have to pick up. I'm going to just take that needle off of there, and that one we're going to drop. So we are going to, and we've got this all hooked up just in case our waste yarn falls off at the end after we cut this next one. So you have that last one secured with a closable stitch marker, and we know we have to drop that row too. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one and this one. I hope this worked good for you because it worked beautifully for me. I had absolutely no issues. There we go. Now I'm going to drop this down. Get that needle out of the way there. And we're almost done. That's so exciting. I can't wait to see the other side. And we're going to just unpick. I just pick up here and unpick. Of course, you're a pro at it already. You know what to do. 1, 2, I'm going to put my hook in that green stitch. Then I'm going to pull out that last pink. I'm going to work my way up, and I'll see you when I get there. All right, so I finished that row. Now we have just one more to go. So this loop is holding this stitch, okay? And now this last one here is the one that we need to work. Let's go ahead and cut off that last bit of waste yarn. Take this right out of the way here. We're gonna undo our stitch marker, and we're going to drop that last row and work it up. All right, friends, you are almost done. You did it. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me. We just did a good job. So there you go. Don't worry about those knots. We're going to just work around them. Pick this up and you can get through there. Maybe go on the other side of the stitch to pull these little loops out. And being careful when you get to the bottom of this last one. And I have 3 pink rows to do. 1, 2, I'm going to stick my crochet hook in that green one first, and then release that pink one. Work my way up, and I'll see you at the top. Having picked up all those bars, I'm going to grab that last loop. And friends, every stitch is accounted for. Now we just have to find our ends. Okay, so there is this one. And we've got, don't pull them out of the loop though. There's that one. And then we should have the one that is attached to our, let's see, let's look for the other one. I thought there was a third one. Is there a third one, you guys? Let's see. I think these two are connected. I'm gonna pull them. In my mind, there should be 3, but I used the tail of the one and then I added the other. Let's see. There it is. Never doubt yourself. It's there. I'm going, something's not right. So all we have to do now is pull these, all 3. Just make it nice and even and pull them nice and snug. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to also cut this and we're going to work this. Pull that one. One of these is one long thing and I'm not sure which ones they are. So let's see that if I pull that one, what am I going to do? And pull this one. Okay, these 2 are connected. These 2 right here. So I'm going to tie them in a firm knot, just like that. Then I'm going to pull this one because this was our drawstring from our cast off. I'm going to pull that. Then I'm going to tie 2 of them together, 1 and 2. And then we're going to take this other side and we're going to fold it in half. We've got our ends coming out of the white one here, from the white one here, and we're going to have that right in the center. Well, that's folded in half, and we're going to pull this one tight. This is the inside of our beanie, making sure that those tails stay out. You only need 1. Take the longest one, tuck the other ones in there, take the longest one out, and smooth this out. Pull it tight, keeping 1 or 2 of those out. And we're going to cut this a little shorter to work with. Pull that snug. I'm going to pop this back on my needle. I'm going to find my smaller needle. I will link these needles in the description box below for you to have. Always go to the description box below my videos. Every time you watch a video, I always have a little note there for you and then information on different supplies and where you can get it, etc. So always go down there. I would appreciate that. I'm going to go around that top row of stitches just like that, just to reinforce it, getting that out of the way. So again, picking up that top row, and a little bit more, smoothing that out to get underneath those stitches, and going all the way around, just like that. Then I'm going to take that inside one, pull it right up to the top here so that they are right close to each other, and we're going to tie a knot. 1, 2, and I always do 3 for this part, and 3. Taking your needle, we're going to hide those in between the 2 layers. Pop that in there and bring it out. Do the same with the other one. This is a reversible beanie. You can wear this green side on the outside, or you can see the magic on the other side in just a second. And that is the main side, but either way, I'm going to show you this side first. Here we go. We're going to cut that off. We're going to fold this down. That ribbing is on the other side. We're going to stretch this because we didn't give it a good stretch before. Oh, my ring got caught on there. It's not good. Friends, this is a beautiful side. Just like that. You get that little bit of ribbing that is showing there on the pink edging and the little pink flecks in there. It's absolutely gorgeous. Let me put my little Limits and Knacks tray up here because then it makes it easier to see. There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? But now look at the other side. Let's just turn this little baby around. Looks like a little small little thing until you stretch it out, but look at that. Oh, I just love it. It's so awesome. And there's good stretch to it too. I think that this, I'm excited. I get so excited about stuff like this. You know, that's the fun thing about creating. You draw out a pattern, then you do it, and when it comes to fruition, so to speak, you can just be proud. It's so gorgeous. Let's add a pom-pom to this beauty. Now this particular beanie, seriously, with the ribbing, doesn't really need a pom-pom, does it, friends? It doesn't. It's beautiful just the way it is on both sides. But sometimes you might want to have the option of a pom-pom. So I went ahead and I used my CLOVER pom-pom maker. This is the jumbo one. I believe it makes a 4.5-inch pom-pom, but it has a number 85 at the back. If you're looking for one and that's the same size that you want to get, it has an 85, but it is a jumbo pom-pom maker. And I will link this and a few other things down in the description box below, so please make sure you have a look. But it's nice to maybe add one sometimes and change up your look. And here it is. I absolutely love it. That pink comes through and the yellow comes through. There's a hint of green in there. It's just absolutely beautiful. Of course, you can choose to put a faux fur pom-pom on there as well. But I thought for this particular beanie, I want to stick with the same yarn. I'm going to thread my needle. We're going to pop both strands down through the center there. Bring them out the other side, hopefully in the middle. There we go. Bring it through. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little heart button things that I got off of Amazon, and I'll link those too. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these and put it on one side, take the other one and put it on the other side, and I'm just going to tie this on. Just like that. And you know what? Tie a nice bow. And the reason why we don't want to just knot it off and hide it is because we can switch this out to the other side. Now, you don't need to have this quite so big. But that little wooden button gives it something to hang on to. Of course, you know I love pumpkins, which if you watch any of my videos with removable pom-poms, you will see what a pumpkin is. And you can close your beanie with a wider opening and use that as well if you like. And I will link those in the description box below. But for this one, this is how I will choose to do it. Look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous. We're going to take that off simply by untying it, lifting up on our little piece there. We're going to take this off. We're going to pop it onto the other side. And we're going to have a look at what the same color pom-pom will look like on the pink granite side. You can make one with the with any of these three colors and it will look absolutely gorgeous. Taking this button piece, I'm going to put that on there again. And we're going to tie this. Of course, like I said, you can tie this in a bow without using one of these button things, but then you have to dig for this little knotted end and you'll snag your work in and it just looks pretty. So why would you do that when you can have a nice little button closure like that, or fixture? And look at that. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It picks up on the little white fleck that's in there. But again, choose this pink or stick with the green and that would be gorgeous too. Love it. Okay, friends, there you have it. A beautiful, beautiful ribbed beanie. Of course, it's not ribbed on the other side, but it's beautiful in its own right in that side as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And please don't forget to show me the ones that you make in my Facebook group. And if you're posting in other groups, always add the link so people can find my channel. I would appreciate your support in doing that. So again, thanks again for spending your time with me and for trusting me to bring you good patterns and for making them. That means a lot to me. All right, friends, take care and have a blessed day. We'll see you in the next video.